Annyeonghaseyo and good afternoon from the Inje Podium for round 8 of the 2025 TCR Asia series. My name is Annyeonghaseyo and we are here live for race number 2, aka round 8, as we see highlights from yesterday's race where chaotic start for Diego Moran when he fell through the pack after bogging the start. Meanwhile, Benny Santoso and Chang were battling out for P4 at that time before a mechanical problem for the driver who was in P3, Zhang, that he had to go back into the pits. Then the battle for third turned in on its head when it changed hands when Chang came by, overtaking Benny Santoso for P3 after slipping on some water that was actually on the circuit after rain that we had earlier before. But up in front, it was the two Parks, Juni Park and Junsun Park, who battled all the way to the last lap, and it was a very close race before the first Park, car number 87, managed to hang on and win the race in front of the second Park. So it was a 1-2 for Solid Indigo Racing and winning for Hyundai on their home turf. So then, we're getting ready for the start of round 8, and waiting right now is everyone going onto the grid from the pit lane. Our drone camera, of course, capturing all of the action from above and giving us some really dynamic shots. With the likes of turn number 5 and 6 having some of the best action there. We saw really close fights from above. But today, it looks as though it's going to be more of the same, as now we see the grid being formed up. But pole position has actually gone to the Indonesian, Benny Santoso, who will no doubt be delighted for Z Speed Malaysia. And this is a reverse of what happened yesterday when he lost out on the overall podium, but still won in his class, the Cup class, for the 3 drivers that are competing in that today. Alongside him is Red Diwa and Chi Ren Liu, who is the other Cup driver that actually is taking part in the Cup class. Behind Benny, or rather beside him on the grid, is Chan Shen Chang, who was pretty much the thorn in his side for the entire race. Both of them had a ding-dong battle for the majority of it before Benny lost third position and gave it to Chang for the overall podium. But Benny wouldn't be too displeased by that, because he did still get a win in the Cup class, and that really does him well, especially given the fact that he is up in the championship lead for the Cup class coming into this round. Looking at Zhendong Zhang, the only retiree from yesterday's race. We're not entirely sure what happened to the car, but it did seem mechanical, and he had to pull into the pits 5 laps short towards the end. So hopefully for his sake today, he wouldn't have the same problems and he'll have a clean race, probably battling out for the front, because he was running up in P3 against the 2 Parks. So then, more and more of the cars are coming out onto the track. I think I see one car in the pit lane that's still waiting to come out, but by the looks of it, I think all the cars that competed yesterday have actually made it to the grid. One guy who is actually on the grid right now, we're hoping that the event from yesterday doesn't happen again, is Diego Moran, the Ecuadorian, who bogged it on the line from the start with the Honda, the only Honda on the grid. But rather than that, he actually made his way up through the field and managed to finish in P4 yesterday. But it was a result that he would wish was much higher if he didn't bog the start. Junsun Park, this is the guy lining up in 5th behind Moran, and 2nd place yesterday, as we hear the horn to get the personnel off the grid. Not the main personnel who are still with the drivers, just giving them final talking to before we get off for the start. So right, there is the starting grid for us here today. a reversal from the proceedings yesterday. We saw just now Santoso in front, Chang in second, Zhang in third, Moran fourth, and then fifth for Junsun Park, with Juni Park in sixth. Behind him is Red Diwa, and then Chirin Liu will be right at the back, running up the entire field. The field, and the drivers are now left to their own devices after this, with their minds set on going through for the race, and probably their best laid plans are ready to be put to play. There we go. That's the signal for 3 minutes left to go. Waiting for the engines to start as well. In fact, I think some of the engines have started. Just the marshals ready to blare the horn, getting ready to go for the second of two races for this weekend. Round 8 of the 2025 TCR Asia Series, and we are now into the closing stages of the season. One more run after this at Inje, and then we will be going to Juju, part of the World Tour round as well. In fact, the last two rounds of the season will be held with the World Tour in mind, so we might have a very stacked grid coming after this. But for now, we will finish off the proceedings in Inje to close out round 8. So we're getting ready now, waiting for the orders to go. We had the 3-minute board start to show there from the marshals. Only the last remaining crews will be attending to their cars. And there we go. The marshal now going onto the grid, getting ready to show the board to get this race underway. One minute left to go, and the last of the crews that get the cars started here are going off the grid. Now the drivers are left to their own thoughts, and we will get ready for the race as well for all involved. The crowd have actually made it here to watch the racing, especially because of the fact that the Hyundai N Festival was going on throughout the weekend, and some good racing was seen there as well. Really good racing from similar Hyundai touring cars. Waiting for the marshals now to show the board to start the formation lap for round 8. Revs rise, green flag flies, and we are off then for the formation lap. Benny Santoso and Chien Chang will be leading the way here for the rest of the field. This is race number 2, aka round 8 of the 2025 TCR Asia Series. We're off then into the sights of the Inje Podium that has provided some really good action from not just the TCR Asia series, but also the Hyundai N Festival. In fact, my eyes didn't deceive me. That was a car that it was in pit lane, going for the pit lane start. Well, not pit lane start, but I think he just wanted to get away there to do the reconnaissance as well. Chirin Liu, who is in the only I-30 on the grid, in a sea of Elantras, and a couple of other different cars as well, including the Honda Civic and the Audi RS3. But there's Chirin Liu running off the field, getting some last minute prep out of the way as well. Then coming through the final sector here, turn 10, we potentially saw some side-by-side action, but no overtaking maneuvers could have been done because of the fact that it tightened up immediately at turn 11, as Junsun Park found out in the closing stages of yesterday's race. That's the car we're focusing on right now, finishing in second. The one of the Hyundai N drivers that has impressed in both the Hyundai N Cup and also in touring car series around the world, especially in TCR Italy, where he has taken part as well. And Juni Park behind him, likewise, has competed in the TCR series in there as well. The likes of TCR Italy and all that. So then, coming up now to the start-finish straight for the first time. This will be the start of race number 2. We can see Benny Santoso on our right-hand side of the screen. He has pole position. And then Chang right behind him will be starting in second place, while behind him is beside him on the grid Chang Shen Shang. And then the rest of the field then line up right behind him, including, I think, Red Diwa. And after that, Chirin Liu, who actually was from the pit lane. Now he's actually going to start together with the rest of the field. Right then, there's the 5-second board being readied up, waiting to be flown for the start of race number 2, aka round 8. Green flag behind has been waved, all clear now. Safety cars behind us as well. Red lights on the gantry come on, and it looks as though we had a jump start there. Diego Moran might have actually jumped the start because that was way too early, or he might have timed it quite well. Whatever it is, he punches his way through up to the front with Zhang in second place, Benny Santoso in third, and the two Parks have actually come by. Red Diwa and Chirin Liu behind are actually coming through as well. But what a blinding start then from Diego Moran. We're waiting to see whether or not that was a legal one. But if it wasn't, that would have been an unfortunate gut punch for him. 2 straight races in a row that he didn't get the starts right. But if he did get it right, what an amazing blinder. Really made it up for yesterday. But for now, we'll wait to see what the stewards have to say as the rest of the field stream through behind him up to turn number 5. Diego Moran leads the way. Second place looks like it's Zhang. Third place is Chang. Third place is one of the Parks. Can't see which one is it. In fact, it's Juni Park who's actually gotten the best of Junsun Park in third and fourth. Fifth place is Benny, and then 6th is Chang. So the order has really shaken up here, but the 2 drivers who are the main force of this entire weekend are no doubt lurking in the water here, ready to strike when the moment is right. Moran leads, and then second place is Chang. We're looking at the battle between these 2 again after yesterday's events, between Zhang and Benny Santoso, as our drone cam captures the first lap action here. Coming up now to the turn 17 hairpin. Lockup, big lockup from the Audi behind then. Chang really pushing it there. Chang really pushing it to get the car up and running through the corners. But for now, we're coming up to the end of the first lap here. Turn 19 beckons the drivers up to turn number 20. And the first lap is done. But Diego Moran, we have to put an asterisk on his name for now because we're not sure whether or not that was actually a clean start or he might have actually jumped in, because the lights looked as though it was still on when he was coming through right now. But whatever it is, He leads the way. Second place is Zhang. Third place is Junyi Park. And fourth is Junsun Park. And so it comes Junyi Park onto the inside of Zhang. Are they going to collide? No. Somehow they actually managed to clear each other. But there's the early intent from the driver, who is actually impervious throughout the weekend. Has started pole position yesterday, won the race, led the whole way, and now he's looking to make it a double here in Inje. Routes 8 and 9 now. That is the corner where we saw a lot of drivers sending it full commitment, and it looks as though we might actually see an overtake coming out to turn number 10. Lock up from Zhang, but he holds it quite well. Really hanging on for dear life right now, because the two solid Indigo cars are just looking like shark in the water here, ready to pounce anytime on any unsuspecting victim. In this case, Zhang here, waiting to be pounced upon, as the gap between second and third about 0.2 of a second as they cross the interval, but I think it is much closer than that after they cross the line here. Coming out now to turn 17, lock up from Junsun Park behind as Zhang goes a bit wide. Let's see if he can actually get a good drive out of there. Just about hangs on to the position. Luckily though, he did not actually lose out in terms of the drag race all the way up to turn 19. But that car, the Z-Speed N car, really is under a lot of pressure, and we hope for his sake that he doesn't have the same mechanical malaise that actually on his run yesterday. As fast as that goes to Moran, he is well in clear because he doesn't have anybody in front of him. Clear gap, he can try to scamper off here on what could possibly have been a blinder of a start, or it could have been an illegal one. That was for certain. He made the most of that getaway and now has spread his wings here up in front for about a second. So Zhang behind is under severe pressure from the first of the two parks. Junyi Park, yesterday's race winner, has really punched his way up to the field now, ready to pounce if Zhang makes a mistake. But for now, his defense has been quite solid. Moran still leads through turn 6, and now we come up to turn 7, and this is 8 and 9. No such heroics from the drivers behind, unlike yesterday where the grip wasn't really at its most optimum because the track was a bit green after some of the rain that we had the day before on Friday night. But the Sunday has been quite clear, so the grip has not been fully utilized here, especially that we have not seen full two-wheel action across the curves. Probably because this is still early phase of the race, they want to keep those tires fresh. Junsun Park might have to keep that in mind after really locking up coming up to turn 17. This is now that corner in question. Our drone camera really capturing the close action there. The drivers might not be seeing it that much, but the drone camera really captures how it feels like the speed that these cars go around this Inje Stadium in Gangwon, South Korea. Gangwon-do, just 100 kilometers away from the capital city of Seoul. To the last corner. Unbelievably, we're still only on lap 3. Now we're on lap 4 as Zhang tries to hold off the pursuing attack from Park right behind him. Junyi Park and Junsun Park both are just playing it safe right now. Taking too much. In fact, in terms of the overall stakes, the fastest lap has actually changed hands right now. Can't see who it is at this point because it's focusing on his battle. It looks as though I think Moran, in fact no, Moran has still held on to that because the two Parks are being bottled up by the Hyundai of Zhang, still holding on to second place somehow here. Through thick and thin, he has somehow held on to it despite the early attacks from the two Parks. But for now, I think Zhang's just playing it cool, playing it safe. He doesn't want to actually get into too much drama to throw away something to make up for a weekend that has not gone right from the first race, especially that he had to retire first. Coming through the hairpin again at turn 11. You can see how much of a tighter line is trying to take there to just get his nose on the inside. But it looks as though he has not been able to get enough of the drive so far. Remember, equal machinery here, they're all driving the same Elantra and TCR cars, so not much of a difference in terms of performance, but it's going to be up to the driver's skill to make the difference here. As Zhang then takes a wide line coming up to 17 to 18. So far no changes in the front four. Likewise then, the cup leader is still Benny Santoso by about 5 tenths of a second from Chang. Chang will be disappointed that he doesn't have a pit today, as now we change for third place because Junsun Park has actually overtaken Juni Park across the line, and that looked as though Juni Park just moved out of the way here to let his teammate by because Junsun Park is the faster of the two drivers at this current juncture, so he wants to have a crack at the back of Zhang here, but right now it's just even Stevens up in front because Moran has not actually gotten away that much either, so still not lost here for both solid illegal drivers, especially given the fact that the 1-2 yesterday might still be on the cards here today on Sundays. Pro turn 6. Turn 7, here's 8 and 9, and we can see the first of the hoppers there, Juni Park, showing the same kind of commitment that he had yesterday, but in terms of pace, he of course backed it off for the at the end of the previous lap. That will not be doing his last lap hunt any better, but he wouldn't be minding that too much again because he'll leave his teammates to do the punching up in front. He might just take the beneficiary of that if Zhang makes a mistake somewhere along this lap, as you can see that the gap is increasing ever so slightly as our drone cam is showing here the visual representation of how far Moran has actually pulled away slightly as Juni Park locks it up just a bit coming into turn 17, manages to keep it together here, but it will not do his tires any good because he wants to actually save them for the last minute attack, especially given the fact that we're still not past the halfway point here at Inje. Turn 20 for this 5th time. On to lap number 6 now. To the halfway point as there's confirmation on our screen. The live timing has changed hands because we saw it just now when Juni Park was looking about Junsun Park. It didn't update because it updates by the lap, but confirmation as well for those who are on screen keeping up with the timing of the race. Junsun Park is in 3rd, Juni Park in 4th with Zhang right now still holding on to P2 with Moran up by just 1.3 seconds in front. We looked for a second there between Benny Santoso and Chang behind 7/10 of a second here. This is the confirmation of how much lap time has been lost between two drivers. Chang 43.2, 42.8 and 42.4. He's getting faster, slower actually, lap after lap, but the times behind him might not be reflected that because of course Junsun Park will start behind his teammate for a while. It's not indicative of how much faster he is at this current point, but the previous lap he was leading him in by a bit, though we might just put that as a window because he can really just bring him in right now. He wants to overtake, he has to get it done soon because otherwise Moran might just increase the gap up in front. And now we have some comments coming through here. Of course, support for the Indonesian driver is very strong. Benny Santoso there, getting some support in the comments on YouTube. As you can see on the inside, there goes Junsun Park. He sees an opening on the inside of Zhang, and he does get it through. Does he get it stick? Yes, he does. Turn 17 has seen an overtaking maneuver today, and it's done by Junsun Park. So the team tactics to allow the faster two drivers behind to come by has bring some rewards here for now. But can Juni Park do the exact same thing and get by so that they can actually go after Diego Moran? Across the start-finish line now. Lap number 7. We're halfway through this race, and it has been very exciting, especially for the final two positions on the roster. But no doubt, it is a battle for the win of this race. It could get very heated as Juni Park now does his move on the inside. Can he get it stick? Zhang opens up the door. They're still going at it side by side. Door handle to door handle. The wing mirrors actually touched each other, but I think Park might actually have the run along the outside because the corner radius opens up and he gets through up to P3. Lovely bit of driving from the solid Indigo guys, and credit as well to Zhang for actually putting up a clean bit of fighting as well. But no doubt his defense, his resolve has been broken for this one. He'll have to settle in now for P4 for the time being though, because he still has to keep up with the two parks just in case if they catch up to Moran, a podium will still be on the spot for him. No scratches on the car, so that's how clean he kept it. It's just touching wing mirrors on the side. And now Moran will no doubt be sweating in his overalls because of the fact that the two parks are now coming up to the back of him, up to turn 17. Our drone cam really capturing the action. Low and then goes high, coming up now to turn 17. There's the camera again, closing up to the back of Junsun Park. I think he will be minding that too much. He would not even probably see the camera because it is quite small in real life, as opposed to seeing the drone right up close when it's in your hands. But really good camera work from operators here in Korea, just capturing the best of shots. As the running order has changed, because again, as I mentioned before, it changes per lap. As it's confirmation that Zhang has dropped to P4, Junsun Park and Junyi Park have actually gone up to the roster of the final two positions here. But this is what we're looking at right now, 1.2 seconds to the good between Diego Moran and Junsun Park. And it looks as though, I think the stewards have actually let Moran off the hook, because that looked as though it was a very clean start from Moran. He really timed it to perfection, but in terms of his overall race pace, it's not actually being reflective of that, because look at the times that Junsun Park compared to him. 1/10 on one lap, and then the next lap 10, nearly 5/10 the next time by. So 43 flat even for Junsun Park. You know that the pace of that Hyundai is really fits like a glove with the Inje Stadium. Really putting track knowledge as well to good use. Local world courses. And a one-time winner, champion of the Hyundai N Cup. Oh, in fact, Junsun Park was second in the N Cup overall for the Hyundai N Festival back in 2022. He has taken part since then in TCR Italy and the Nürburgring 24 Podium Inje. So he has some continental experience up on his sleeve. So let's see then if he can put it to good use here against some of the best that Asia has to offer. And the next driver up on his side is the Ecuadorian Diego Moran in the Honda that has been leading for most of this race. Coming out now to the start finish line. Lap number 9, he goes. Now just 6 laps away from potentially stealing a win under the noses of two parks, but Junsun Park will try to have a word on that one. 9/10 of seconds they come by this time, and fastest lap of course has fallen to Junsun Park. He really is showing his mantle today after playing as a good teammate yesterday behind Junyi Park. This is, however, today his chance to actually strike for glory and get a win on home soil as well. For himself, for Solid Music Racing, and for the Hyundai N-Mark that has the home crowd no doubt be supporting for them all the way. As one comment on the stream, he's actually trying to will on the Honda Civic, as the Hyundai is now really ominously coming much closer this time by, as Moran goes a bit wide coming through turn 11. Junsun Park gets a much tighter line through there. We only can wait and see whether or not the gap is really closing compared to the 9/10 of a second that we had just only previously in this preceding lap. Coming out now to the final sector, turn 16, the left-hand kick into turn 17. We've seen this maneuver done by Junsun Park here. He is really leading in Moran, the Ecuadorian in the Honda. Wait and see what the gap is next time by. They come up now to turn 19 and 20. Can't really say for sure, but it looks as though Moran probably has picked up a bit of pace this time by, as we now come through the timing deep. Lap 10. See the gap? In fact, it has kind of stabilized a bit, so it's only still 9/10 of a second between the two drivers. Meanwhile, Junyi Park has actually not been able to really the drivers in front as well. He's still 1.7 seconds behind. Zhang in 4th place, but Benny Santoso in Indonesian has actually reeled in as well. So this might be a battle for 4th, 5th, and 6th, as the first leading train has gone all the way up in front. Meanwhile, some attention will be given to in terms of battles elsewhere. P7 Red Dewa, the Filipino, a driver that no doubt has huge support back in his home country. He's running in second in Cup class, 7 overall. And Chiren Liu, who had to actually leave the pit lane at the last minute, he's 27 seconds behind the race leaders, but P3 in his class, so he'll take another podium for the weekend. Meanwhile, back up in front, this is the overall battle, and the one we're watching out for again. Moran takes a slightly wider line as opposed to Junsun Park. Takes a much tighter line coming up to turn 11. He really is hustling that car. Coming on to turn 17, not much has changed so far in the overall stakes. It has plateaued a bit, but somewhat coming into a boilerplate moment where the race has settled into a bit of a rhythm. Maybe the drivers are just trying to preserve their tyres, going for a last-minute strike, especially given the fact that anything can happen in the final few laps, where the tyres must be up to temperature, already up to temperature, but they have really worn out right now. And in fact, Judson Park has lost a bit of time there, 1.2 seconds, as meanwhile Zhang has been overtaken by Chang, and Santoso's moved out to P4 out of our side, so that's a different matter. In fact, Zhang's into the pits for the second straight race. The Z-Speed M car with the Hello Kitty and Snoopy colors has actually cut into the pit, so it might be another mechanical problem here. That's a disaster for the driver who was looking so good to be on the podium in both races. Oh, that's a real disappointment then. And in fact, Zhang, that might have been a similar case yesterday with problems with his car. So unfortunately, we cannot say for sure what it is, but it has struck him once again at the worst possible time. As we see the gap between Moran and Park in terms of laps, 0.2 of a second. So a slight mistake from Park in the previous lap has actually allowed Moran to just count a bit of an advantage. A much needed lead because the gap was under 0.9 of a second previously. Absolutely long point. But will this all the illegal cars take each other once again in terms of team orders, or will they hold station right now? Because I think Park has actually pushed his car up to a certain limit that probably is too much for it, and it has run out of steam here. Waiting and seeing whether or not the two parts will switch position and will allow Junie Park to try and go after Diego Moran. But Moran has done an absolute stellar job up in front, managed to pace quite well, and now he's on his way to claiming a win that will do his chances of scoring points for the World Tour rankings. Cross the line he goes. Ran 2 seconds down to the good, so Junsun Park has actually lost the initiative here after chasing the Ecuadorian at 1 point. Now has lost a bit of momentum here. He's falling into the clutches of his teammate, just 0.7 of a second behind, as we see a replay of the start then. Yes, in fact, Moran has jumped the start. So, my eyes were not deceiving me. It looked like the red lights were still flashing here. So, Moran has actually jumped it. Now, the stewards might just be looking at it. He might get a penalty. And, oh, well, the smoke on those tires might not be so foreboding either. Because it was probably just oil filters coming through and just produce a puff of blue smoke. That's quite common because, again, we see that in Formula 1 as well, where sometimes blue smoke comes up when oil is burning on the top and it produces that distinct blue color. But for Moran, he might be feeling a bit blue right now because of the fact that that perfect start wasn't really the cleanest of starts. So, what we're looking at right now is potentially a battle for the race win between Junsun Park and Junie Park. Never mind Moran up in front, Moran might be looking at a potential sanctioning afterwards for what was potentially a good start, but then it was not put to good use because, again, sorry, not put to good use. It is put to good use, but it wasn't done in a good way because it was a jump start for the Ecuadorian. Now, when you can see whether or not Marcel will push out to the Ecuadorian as our drill camera was just visibly seen for a second. This is now the battle between first and second, essentially, and third and fourth because Santoso behind is still holding on to that position. It might turn into a third place after this once Moran actually gets a penalty. Chang, meanwhile, will be eager to get one over the Indonesian as well after the battle they had yesterday. So, second, third, fourth, and fifth on our screens are potentially first, second, third, and fourth once the penalty shake itself out for Moran. Wow, what a turn up for the books here today. We thought that it might have been an upset win for the Ecuadorian, who will get some good amount of points, especially the fact that the World Tour drivers will be coming after this the next time by. We come here next month in Inje. Oh, and it's not even, we're not even going to get a breather right now because we're on the penultimate lap, and Junsun Park has actually backed his teammate up to Benny Santoso and Chang. Chang has actually got an opportunity to actually get up to the back of Benny, as now onto the inside. Junsun Park actually tried to look on the inside of Junie Park, tried to look on the inside of Junsun Park, but no way through just yet. Coming at the 10-10, they nearly go at it side by side. The right hand side wheel of Junsun Park nearly got to the rear side wheel of Junie Park as Benny goes on the inside. Benny tries to go through at turn 11, but no way through just yet. Chang is watching brief. Something has happened to Junsun Park's car, and it looks as though he's losing a lot of power here, creating a train behind. Meanwhile, the driver up in front is looking at a penalty for jumping the start. What has gone on here? The race has been completely turned on its head, and we're on the penultimate lap right now. Coming onto the outside goes Benny. He goes through on the outside of Junie Park. Can he get it on the outside? Can he get a drive to go through and punch through the two Indigo Racing cars? But no. Junie Park hangs around the outside. Junsun Park on the inside. Junsun Park looks as though he cannot get a drive on, and then lets his teammate through, slides his way around the outside, and now Junsun Park is dropped to third place overall, but second once we shake out the penalty. We're on the last lap. Diego Moran has actually crossed the line. Penny thought he had the race win inside, but now Chang is hanging around the outside. Here the battle for third and fourth essentially, because when we shake it all out, this is net third and fourth on the racetrack, and first and second as well as Junsun Park has faded. He has let Benny through, so Benny is up to second place with Chang coming out to third place right now. Would you believe it? The race has been completely turned on its head, and it's still not over yet. Benny goes through. He gets it. He's off the track. He's nearly into the wall. Oh my word. Benny Santoso has been bumped out by Junie Park. That was very dirty from the Korean, and it's still not over yet because Moran is only about 2 seconds up in front. He will potentially drop to fifth place once the penalties shake it all out. But my word, what an absolute turn of events here. We have not expected a race to turn out like this. It is exciting. Now Chang might try to aim for the win. Remember, this is the championship leader in the TCR Asia Series for 2025. Tries to go through, but Junie Park hangs on to it. My word. And we had a ding-dong battle. This is a grandstand finish that we did not expect. The race leader, who is actually not the race leader right now, or the second place man, is in fact the actual race leader who could potentially win this race. But we might be looking at a penalty because the way he shoved Benny Santoso off the racetrack was not clean. And now Chang goes on the inside. The championship leader comes through, and he takes the lead of the race. Would you believe it? Chang comes through, and he takes the lead in front of the Parks. Now, he is going to be essentially the race winner because Moran, even though he crosses the line in first, will not be classified as the winner because no doubt the penalty will be served to him. Drops it all into P5. Checker flag waves. Chang takes the victory. Overall in the net standings, second place will be Junsun Park. Third, Junie Park. Third will be Santoso. Fourth will be Junsun Park. And this correspondent has absolutely lost his voice for that one. It is an absolutely ding-dong battle. Now, the battle for second place in the cup class has changed hands because Shirin Liu has overtaken Red Diwa for second place in that one. Red Diwa drops into third place. But what an incredible development in that last lap. Absolutely fantastic battle all the way through. And here now we look at the replay on that last lap where Junie Park knocks Benny Santoso out of the way. That was not very nice from Junie Park. And no doubt Santoso will be a bit miffed by that. As meanwhile, this is the post-race. We're back onto the live action. Moran is the winner right now on the road, but in the steward's room, he will be called to question after that for jumping the start. A weekend he'll rather forget after what looked like a promising start with qualifying session. He was up to third place. Junsun Park, we look at him right now. He's the one that faded towards the end, that created that absolutely harem-scarum scramble of a last lap that produced some really good action all the way to the finish. Rando, he will take this as a hollow victory, but no doubt he'll be looking at sanctioning. Chang, meanwhile, will be laughing all the way to the bank because not only did he take the win, but he is just a few steps further up the road to potentially take the overall championship in TCR Asia 2025. He no doubt will be happy with that win. He might not know it right now. He finished second on the road, but I think the team will tell him that the win is well and truly his. He drove a clean race, no contact, no histrionics, just biding his time, patiently waiting while others fell by the wayside. And Chen Chang takes another win in the TCR Asia Series for 2025 and extends his championship lead and goes into the next round in Inje right here when the World Tour comes around in good shape. So, as the dust settles on what was a crazy race to round number 8 of the 2025 TCR Asia Series. We are now trying to get our collective breaths back after what was an exciting race. There we go. Chen Chang for Chengdu RevX Racing takes the win, 1.1 seconds in front of Juni Park. An asterisk on him as well, whether or not a penalty will be given afterwards. Benny Santoso in third, and winner of the Cup class. The Indonesians will be over the moon with that one. He drove a fantastic race until he got punted off there. Junsen Park in fourth. Moran drops to P5 after all, after his penalty was given for jumping the start. Then behind him is Shiren Liu, and then Red Liu rounds out the drivers to finish race. While unfortunately for Zhendong Zhang, he did not complete a second consecutive race. Mechanical Malaise once again has struck the driver while he was on his way to a podium. So the Z-Speed N car will probably be having a look to afterwards. But all smiles around for Chen Chang of Chengdu RevX Racing, winner of round 8 of the 2025 TCR Asia Series round here at Inje. And he'll be delighted with that one because, again, he probably did not expect to actually still be in contention after the two parks pulled away at the start. But sometimes when the luck falls your way, you have to take them by both hands. And now our formalities will be happening for this. Fantastic race. Okay, round 8 for TCR Asia 2025. We saw just now Moran. We thought he went off to a great start. I think, personally, I did see that the lights were still on and he did jump the start, and my hunch was right. He definitely had too good of a start to come on the way, but he made good with that initially as he punched through to the front. Zhang in second place, and then the two punks swarmed around the outside of Benny Santoso, as you can see there. That's a bit of foreshadowing, isn't it? Because Santoso will be inside that time, and stood to the outside for the next corner later on in the race. Look at it. It was a good bit of defensive driving from Zhang. His all was broken by Park, whereas he took his teammate earlier 2 quarters. He took second place initially and tried to go after Diego Moran up in front. Then not long after that, Juni Park also will be the catalyst for the start of what was a battle that became a fierce one in the final 3 laps afterwards. Juni Park then got a little bit of a touch from Zhang, door handle to door handle, mirror to mirror, but overall it was a clean one that actually resolved almost immediately. Then towards the end of the race, this is after Juni Park was going to take it. Afterwards, that allowed Chang to take the victory right behind Moran. Moran in front is on the same piece of real estate, not on the same lap as him, but will be penalized afterwards for jumping the start. And now, we can finally get our collective breaths. We will be going through post-race scrutineering. We'll be updated afterwards on our socials whether or not any of the drivers got post-race penalties, especially given the fact that the asterisk on Juni Park for his shove on Benny Santoso will no doubt be angering the Indonesian faithful after that one. We'll be seeing that after this. So then, waiting for the podium procedures to play its part in the formalities here. And I think the drivers as well will be trying to get their breaths because they didn't expect that to be quite a fantastic race, especially because of Junsen Park's car running out of steam towards the end. We're not sure if it was a slow puncture or it might have been a mechanical malaise that hurt his chances of getting the overall win. But whatever it was, it did give us a fantastic finish. We did not expect it to be that good, but we have been eating quite well here today. Now, the podium ceremonies will get underway here. No doubt the biggest smiles will be given to Chen Chang, who will be leading the way coming into the final 2 meetings of the season. The Chinese Taipei driver for RevX Racing, Chengdu RevX Racing, who extends his championship lead in the overall rankings after also having a strong outing last time out in Sepang. Taking quite a while to run through the results. Again, what we saw just now on screen is still relatively provisional because again, that last lap contact when Juni Park knocked out Benny Santoso onto the grass was no doubt going to be right in the steward's eye in this case. So there might still be a chance yet for Diego Moran to jump up the leaderboard, but the penalty for jumping the start might have been severe enough to just hamper any chances of getting onto the overall podium. Meanwhile, for Benny Santoso, that might be his chance for also standing on top of the podium in the overall stakes, because he drove a fantastic race, kept the pace up. He took his chances when he needed to try and punch through to the lead, but unfortunately the two solid Indigo Racing cars proved to be a barrier too far. But he might get a helping hand from the stewards afterwards. Waiting and seeing then whether or not he might get it. And in fact, some of the comments that came through, yes, in fact, some of the comments actually said hi to this correspondent. Hello to you. Yep, I'm doing quite fine. Losing a bit of the voice after what was a crazy moment at the start there. A crazy moment towards the end with 4 cars battling for the win. Fs to KLK 277, Z 277. Yes, stewards have not said anything, but they have shown the replay of the start, as in fact one of our camera crew behind the scenes, Dev 3 Seconds, who run the broadcast here for the Inje round, Moran did jump the start. But Zhang as well, someone mentioned, yes, mechanical failures once again, so unfortunately put him out. RR-R said on the YouTube stream, TCR cinema. Yes, absolutely. Definitely absolute cinema, proper touring car racing, because it was door handle to door handle, banging wheels all the way. We could not have asked a better race to close off the entire weekend's proceedings. And one way to just say thank you to Inje, and we'll be doing it again around 4 weeks time, next month, when the World Tour guys and some of the TCR China drivers are coming in. But for now, our camera now shifts focus to the drivers in the cool-off room, waiting to come onto the podium. Meanwhile, Haikal Nadif, who was a big supporter of Benny at the start, now he will be cheering on his fellow Indonesian because Santoso has gotten a well-deserved podium, and also likewise earned himself some good points to extend his championship lead in the cup class, as we are now coming through to start the podium procedures. Jimmy Park then looking a little bit disconsolate, probably because again Looming Spectre hangs over his head, whether or not he might get a penalty for knocking Benny off the track in that last lap. A real harem scarum last lap, we had. Didn't expect it to go that crazy, but imagine when we have 4 cars battling, we could have potentially a dozen of them battling when we go into the next round, this time next month in Inje, when the World Tour guys and the China Touring Car Cup Championship along with TCR China coming into play as well. So rubbing our hands in glee whether or not that will produce the same amount of action and crazy racing that we saw here today. 빛나는 라인을 따라 바람을 타고 달려 지주해봐 하늘을 가르는 속도 눈부신 트랙 위에 바람을 타고 달려 심장이 뛰는 소리 나를 깨우는 거야 한계를 넘어 눈부신 트랙 위에 우리의 순간을 향해 우리 다 함께 즐기는 거야 팬들의 축제야 모든 순간이 기적처럼 승리를 향한 질주야
새로워진 솔루스
트레드 설계로 조용하죠.
눈길도 빗길도
안전하죠.
와 잘하시네요.
알아야죠. 프로니까.
금호가 만들고 프로가 관리합니다.
타이어 프로
So now, after much deliberation from the stewards behind the scenes. It looks as though the podium will be underway now. As you can see on the top step, Chen Shang, another race win to add to his tally for the season in TCR Asia, extending his championship stakes. Beside him is Junie Park, who will be looking a bit disappointed after missing out on potentially yet another win and a double for the weekend. But the biggest smile right now goes to the Indonesian Benny Santoso, who not only wins the cup class race, but also stands on top of the overall podium. Junie Park running right now, but no doubt he is looking a little bit miffed by the fact that that last lap contact might just cost him a podium right there. But Chen Shang for Chengdu Revex Racing up on top of the podium along with representative, looking really happy right now that he got the overall win and extending his championship in the overall the photo formalities to go out of the way. That will be the end of our broadcast for the weekend of TCR Asia Series 2025 from Inje Podium in Gangwon-do, Korea. We'll be back next month in the exact same round when the TCR World Tour is part of the package, and we might potentially get TCR China and the China Touring Car Championship cars along the way as well. So look out for that one. We will be excited to close off the season afterwards in Yuzhou, China, where the World Tour drivers also try to get points to go to Macau.
자 이제 트로피 내려주시고 네, 샴페인 한번 터트려 보겠습니다.
So that's it for us. From me, I'm Hazik, and the rest of the broadcast team behind the scenes, it's goodbye, and we will see you next month in Inje for TCR Asia round 9 and 10 alongside the TCR China cars and this Chinese Touring Car Championship as part of the Kumo World Tour. But for now, bye bye, and we'll see you next time.